Mr. Ten Hag is growing on me. I like him. I like the way he just shoots from the hip at the end of it. Doesn't really mind if he swears live on air. So what? We can get rid of it. If he does it on talkSPORT, we'll get rid of it. If he does it on Sky, they'll apologise. Ten Hag wasn't getting ahead of himself, though.
We have a long way to go. And when you are in a process, you have to deal with setbacks. Sometimes you have highlights. Today is a highlight. But yeah, we just started. What we have to get is the way to above. We have still a lot of room for improvement, and that is what we have to work for. But I hope the players now understand the base is always team, fighting spirit.
Fighting spirit. They delivered for this man last night, Trevor, did they not? So, as I said to you earlier on, where has this reborn Manchester United been all this time? Why did Ten Hag have to wait and watch what happened against Brighton and what happened against Brentford before he get this kind of thing?
Well, I think the players that were starting at the beginning of the season were in the team. They'd earned the right to be in there. They played a lot of last season, and he was giving them an opportunity to prove their worth. The results didn't go well. They lost 2 games, dismally the last one against Brentford, and he thought, right, that's it. I've had long enough to look. I'm going to make some changes. Ronaldo dropped to the bench. Maguire dropped to the bench. I thought the partnership between Varane and Martinez was excellent. I thought Rashford, I've been saying this for a long time, put him down the middle against teams that like to play high line because his pace will terrify teams. Exactly what he did. He got his goal off the back of that. He got in a couple of times where he could have scored. He caused a lot of problems for Liverpool back too. And especially when you talk about Virgil van Dijk and Joe Gomez. Remember the 7-2 against Villa? They were the partnership. Ollie Watkins, exactly the same, running in the channels. So it's a game plan they've looked at, detail. But I think everywhere on the pitch, I think they started the game really well. They won a lot of individual battles. You know, Dalot did really well against Diaz. Malacia, young lad, who Erik Ten Hag's brought in, did excellent against Mo Salah. You know, all over the pitch, they were winning individual battles. If you start a game like that and then you go in front, it's going to be very difficult to turn that around.
What did you think, Trevor, when you saw Ten Hag hadn't included Maguire and hadn't included Ronaldo? What did you think at that time, and what do you think now?
I thought he was putting himself in a position where he was backing himself. He believed it was the right thing for the team, and he was backing himself, and he hoped that the team that he selected looked at him in the eye and said, you know what, he's doing the right thing. Make sure you go out there and give me everything on the pitch because you're the team that I've selected. And I think that's exactly what the team did.
So Ronaldo having come back to all this heralded always come home, the prodigal son, etc., etc. And then noises that because of family reasons he's not going to go on the pre-season tour. And then noises that he might want out. And noise in general. Ten Hag has drowned out Ronaldo's noise, hasn't he?
He has, and I've said this many times.
What does it mean for Ronaldo?
Well, to start with, before I even start talking about Ronaldo, I've said this many times. When you're talking about such a great player, you feel, even me as a player, I feel like maybe I shouldn't be in a position to talk about him because he's reached so many heights, he's won so many awards.
Yeah, but it's Ronaldo now we're talking about.
But we're forced into this situation because I respect him so much, what he's achieved in the game. But the way that he's carried on over this summer, I think he's been really poor. I think it's been a bad example to young players. I think it's been really it's hurt the team. It's hurt Manchester United as a club.
It's hurt him.
And it's caused a lot of problems.
On the sidelines.
Because they're now having to go back in the market and offer 100 million for Antony because they need a centre forward because he doesn't want to be there. So it's caused a lot of problems. I was pleased to see him dropped. I was pleased to see Erik Ten Hag be strong, you know, go with the players that he played with and give them a chance.
How about Maguire? Is he going to get that armband back?
I think Maguire's
a different.
I think Maguire's a different one. It's a form thing. He's obviously not confident at the moment. He's not been playing well. He wants to give the other two players an opportunity. I thought they formed a really good partnership, and I think that will be his go-to partnership until one gets injured or there's a lack of form from one of them.
Last night, Simon, I think we'll learn a lot about Ten Hag and what he's about.
Maybe.
Because I actually felt for him sitting there at Brentford the other week.
Did you?
Thinking, he's wondering what on earth is going on in front of me.
Well, he picked the team.
He picked a team, but he didn't play in the game. So last night he decided, I'll tell you who's going to play in my team. He made no bones about it, and some of them were high-profile casualties. And then afterwards, what I loved about him, he was typically low-key about it.
Look, I mean, I think he looked like a small man in a big suit, and I was very surprised that he came out so quickly and wanted to speak so quickly to the media. It was almost the commercial break had finished and Ten Hag was standing there to tell us about what Man United had done.
Well, nothing wrong in that.
That's always the case.
Well, I don't think it is. Managers take some time to come out afterwards, and my first impression was he's straight out in front of the cameras.
I think the live broadcast had a lot to do with that.
I don't think we should have any sympathy.
I don't think it was Ten Hag's decision.
I don't think we should have any sympathy. Well, Klopp didn't come until 5 to 11.
Yeah,
so,
but why do you think that?
Well, because he chose to.
He was probably dressing
and Ten
down the
Hag chose
players.
to come out when he chose to come out. So we can't debate that, can we? They chose to come out when they chose to come out.
I don't get the point.
But the point is that I felt that, that Ten Hag, this is not... Your argument or sentiment is that you feel sorry for him against Brentford. He picked that team.
Oh, sure.
He coached that team to play in a way that they simply aren't capable of. He made decisions to play centre-halves that were 2 foot tall against 6'4" centre-forwards. He made those decisions. He's got intelligence behind the scenes.
But that same centre-half was playing against Liverpool last night.
Yeah, but Liverpool don't play with a 6'4" centre-forward, do they? So the dynamics of how he was set up against was very different. So of course it worked well. And the first thing he did was clean Mohamed Salah out, and we saw him disappear from the game for a period of time until he scored. I think that they were very fortuitous to come against a very poor Liverpool side in the first 20 minutes that did everything that a side shouldn't do against a very fragile, confidence-bereft Manchester United. And so they gave United their head, and for the rest of the game, I thought Liverpool were the far better side. That to one side. Man United needed that result, and I think it's much easier, with all due respect, for not having kicked a ball or laced the glove or whatever else I've got to listen to that I'm not allowed to have an opinion on, right? To play against a side like Liverpool than it will be to play against Southampton, than it is to play against Brighton and Brentford. It doesn't alter the landscape for these players. They are still, in my mind, mental minnows. I believe that Fernandes stepped up yesterday and was far more compelling than he's been before, but we will see how they progress, because the styles make fights, and you see when these teams play. Look at Chelsea against Tottenham. Looked irrepressible, undeniable against Tottenham. What did they look like against Leeds? So you can't get any consistency.
Individual errors. Mendy made the mistake for the goal.
Do you know what I took away from that interview yesterday? Honestly, and people are going to say negative, Jordan. I looked at Ten Hag and I thought, this job's going to be too big for you. That was my takeaway.
After last night,
That's
post-match.
I listened to the interview. I watched him stand there, and I know that you're going to say, well, what does this, hell does this mean? I looked at a small man in a suit that doesn't fit him, and I thought to myself, you don't look like I thought you would.
What did you expect him to look like or say?
Do you know what I thought he'd look like in personality and demeanour? Yap Stam, that sort of chest out. I know he's not got the physical components of Yap Stam.
But you can still carry yourself that way.
Correct. And when I saw his list of rules about you won't do this and you won't talk outside the dressing room, Ronaldo isn't fit. It's an easy decision not to play Ronaldo because he isn't match fit. So I don't look at it and go, well, that was such a brave decision. Because the media build up a backstory about how important Ronaldo is, it doesn't mean that Ten Hag is so brave that he doesn't follow the narrative of the scribes. He can see if Ronaldo's fit or not. So if Ronaldo isn't match fit, you wouldn't play him, would you?
Well, he is fit because he was on the bench.
He's not match fit. He's not sharp. He's
But
not
do
at
you
it.
think other managers?
You saw it against
do you
Brentford.
think other managers, mainly Ollie, would have played Ronaldo?
Well, if you were in...
So he's got to have some kind of
And I think
strength.
you're right. If you were... But Ole Gunnar Solskjaer should never have been the manager of Manchester United. If you want to be the manager of Manchester United, then you need to be a leader.
Well,
so suggesting that someone makes a leader's decision when it actually isn't a leader's decision is just common sense. I'm glad United won, because what it does is we can stop the obsession with Man United and their decline. 3 games in, it would have been another bun fest of all Man United. They've beaten Liverpool. I'm more interested in what's happening at Liverpool at this moment in time.
There was nothing
because
fortuitous.
they don't look
I know she chose a word earlier, though, Simon. It was fortuitous for Manchester United early on. How on earth was it fortuitous? Well, you said the word.
Yeah, no, but what do you mean?
Fortuitous is something happening by chance
Fortune,
more than intention.
Definition of fortune.
They were fortunate. Manchester United, from the word go last night, there was no way back. They decided
They were at it.
We are going to damn well win this.
And Liverpool would and Klopp set this up with his outburst against Gabby and the sentiment going on around there that no one could make any sense of. Why bite back against Gabby Abonglaho? He didn't even attack your players, right? Why are you so focused on this? Because he knew that you know what United are going to do. So the one thing United were going to do was come out like rabid dogs, wasn't it? Because they couldn't not, right? But Liverpool are supposed to match that and take that away.
And they have done in the past.
And that's what they do, right?
Yeah.
And the one thing they didn't do, Trevor, was that. And how do you odds that? Because if Liverpool had matched United and gone toe-for-toe in the first 20 minutes, Liverpool would have strolled through that game because United would have capitulated. Their backsides would have gone boom. like put an American Express card between the cheeks of my backside when I listen to Jim sometimes. It would have gone as tight as a snare drum, and they would have lost.
I was surprised how complacent Manchester United were at the beginning of the game. It was almost like Manchester United had been told that this is a huge derby with a huge history and lots of rivalry between the two clubs, and Liverpool players had not known that. And they went into the game just thinking it's, we're having a kickabout. They were so off it. And listen, I understand the fortuitous part. You've got Núñez missing through suspension. That's lucky for Manchester United that he got suspended. Thiago's injured, the most creative midfielder. I thought they really lacked that, apart from little bits from Harvey Elliott. And Matic, their centre-half pairing with Virgil van Dijk, by far their strongest centre-half pairing. They didn't have him available, and Gomez and Virgil van Dijk for a partnership doesn't work for me. Yeah. So they were fortuitous in that way. But all over the park, I thought Liverpool lacked.
Are you sure, Sammy, you haven't had a brief punch-up with Tony Bellew and he's giving you a dull one to the head? The morning after, Manchester United beat Liverpool by 2-1 against all the odds.
Yes.
You tell us you looked at Ten Hag and you think, I don't think he's up to the job.
My takeaway from that game was that Liverpool...
Because of the size of his suit?
No, I already qualified that, Jim, by saying I know that people would make that as a swipe and say to him, what are you looking at?
You said it.
Yeah, I did say it.
But it means the way he carries himself.
His whole disposition to me, I looked at it and I thought, I'm not the only one, by the way, that thought that, because there were a few other people in the football world that I was talking to last night that took the same thing away.
I think the direct opposite, because last night he could be standing there off the back of a 0-4, and then I would think, there might be something in what you're saying.
Jim, you did the dance of the seven veils when Scotland drew in the European Championship.
They won. That's nothing to do with anything. You're on the ropes this morning. Not just Belgium's got you there. We've got you there as well. Ten Hag not up for the job. Very keen to hear what Manchester United fans think about that. I think completely the other way. That Ten Hag showed last night why he is the man in charge of United, and why United might now surprise a few, because it all starts now.
Jim White and Simon Jordan. Monday to Friday mornings from 10 on AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.